this video, Michael Shackleford, who is also known as the Wizard of Odds and the author of Gambling 102, explains all about Mississippi Stud. He tells you how the game is played, the various bets you can make, the casino advantage on those bets, and the best strategy for playing the game. And now, here's Michael Shackleford.
Let's talk about Mississippi Stud. This is another popular poker-based game. Unlike some other games I've talked about, this is a game where the player wins based only on his own cards. There's no dealer hand. The game starts out where the player makes an ante-wager. Then the dealer is going to give the player 2 cards and 3 community cards face down. After the player sees his first 2 cards, he may either make a raise bet of 1 to 3 times his ante-bet, or he may fold. After this decision has been made, the dealer is going to turn over the first of the 3 community cards. Again, the player can either raise 1 to 3 times his ante-bet, or he can fold. Then the dealer is going to turn over the second community card. Yet again, the player can raise 1 to 3 times his ante-bet, or he may fold. Finally, the dealer is going to turn over the 5th community card and pay the player according to the poker value of his hand, according to a posted pay table on the table. That's all there is to it. There's no side bets to the game, and the strategy is not too complicated. Next, let's talk about the strategy for Mississippi Stud. There is a different strategy for all 3 decision points, and I'm only going to talk about the first decision point because the second 2 are a little bit too long and technical to explain in this video. After the player sees his first 2 cards and before any community cards are turned over, the player should make the big raise 3 times his ante-bet with any pair. The player should make the small raise equal to his ante-wager if the player has any high card, where a high card is defined as a jack or higher. The player should make the small raise equal to his ante-bet if the player has 2 medium cards, a medium card being defined as a 6 through a 10. The player should finally make the small raise equal to his ante-bet if he has a 6-5 suited. If the player doesn't have any of those things, then he should fold. The good thing about Mississippi Stud is the player has 3 chances to raise with good cards. The bad thing about it is the player is forced to making a raise or fold decision. There is no checking. So sometimes if the player has a bad hand but not a terrible hand, mathematically speaking, he's making bad raise bets because it's at least better than folding. So oftentimes the player gets kind of sucked into the game with mediocre hands and then ends up losing. The experience in this game is you have a lot of losses that are offset by the occasional big win. Mathematically speaking, assuming optimal strategy, the house advantage in Mississippi Stud is 4.91% of the original ante-wager. That means that for every dollar the player bets on the ante, he can expect to lose 4.91 cents. For the strategy for the second and the third decision points, I highly recommend my website, wizardofodds.com. It's got the full strategy for the game. If you want to know more about me or hundreds of different casino games, it's all on my website, wizardofodds.com, and my book, Gambling 102, has strategies for the most popular casino games.